Okay, what we're going to do in this assignment is we're going to use background bitmap to trace an image. Where we would use this is if we have an image that does not vectorize well, if it's a color image, if it's something specific that we want, and we don't have a good black and white image. So what I've already done is opened up Rhino. I'm in inches, small object. I've created a 6x6 box here that we're going to start with. And I already went and found myself an image and saved it to my flash drive. Now, one note on images is that JPEGs tend to work better. If it's a PNG, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So you may have to try a couple times until you find one that works. Also, try to find something that's not too complicated to start with. Here I've got a few lines, I've got a few joints, not going to be that difficult. So I've saved this, we're going to go back to Rhino. What we're going to do is type background bitmap. You can see it automatically populates here because I've used it recently, and select that. Then you're going to go and you're going to find your file. So here's the one that I used. And we're going to start at the first corner here, and we're going to try to fit it inside our box. I'm going to make sure OSnap is off for now. And there's our background bitmap. So what we're going to do is use the tools that we've recently learned, the lines, the polylines, the curves, to trace the outline of this so that we can use it later on. We can use straight lines, we can use any of the curve tools. If it's a curve, I prefer the one here where it's interpolate points, but you can play around with them to see what works best for you. So I'm going to start with that one and pick a place to start. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to start down here where the ear connects to the body. And what I'm going to do is just kind of follow along, and I'm going to click periodically. With using the line, I can pan, I can zoom in and out if I need to, but I'm just going to go and I'm going to keep clicking. If there's somewhere where it's really tight, like in here, I'm going to have to click multiple times because every time I move this, we can see that it moves the rest of the line. The more dots and curves we have, the less of an impact it's going to have on the rest of the line. So we're just going to click around here, and if I make a mistake, that's okay. I can clean that up later, and we'll show you how to do that. If it's hard to see, you can zoom in more. You can zoom out more if it's something that's fairly easy. But we're just going to click around the outside. Again, more points you have, the more detail you're going to have. You'll find some areas where you won't need a whole lot. Here's one where I have a long arcing curve, so I won't need quite as many points. Here the curve changes direction, so I'll need a few more. Again, a couple of those are off a little bit, but I can clean that up later. And what I'm going to do right here, because it makes a 90-degree corner, I'm going to go ahead and stop the line. So to do that, if I just hit enter, it stops the line, and we have that line that we've drawn. Now, one of the cool things about background bitmap is we can pull that picture out so we can see what our line looks like. To do that, if we type background bitmap again, and up here in the top where it says visible, click on that, and it hides your picture. So I can see what I have already. I can see I got a good arc here. That looks fine. I may decide to clean a little up later, but that's okay. To get it back, we click on visible again, and it comes back. Now I stop that line right here, and I hit enter to get out of that. I stop that line right here because I have a sharp corner. What I can do, I have OSnap on and N selected, so I can tie back into that, and allows me to start my line again. If I'd have wanted to make this a sharp corner before, I would have had to make a lot of clicks and a lot of points in there. So we're just going to go ahead and keep going this up. Here's another place where I want it to come sharp, so I'll hit enter to stop it. If I hit enter again, I can start right back at that place, or at that same site. And we're just going to keep going along here. You can see I get those annoying lines sometimes. I forgot to uncheck Smart Track. That will get rid of that. And here I know I have a big arcing curve, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. Won't need quite as many points. Here's an area where we change directions pretty rapidly, so we'll need to zoom in. And we'll just keep going. You get the idea at this point. So I made a bunch of my line. I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like. So I'm going to click Background Bitmap again, hit Visible, No, and there's what I have so far. Now, if that was the end, which it's not, I'd want to go in and join everything because I have multiple line segments here. We've done that already. Easiest way, Control A, type Join, and it tells us right here, 3 curves joined into one open curve. Since these are not connected, we have an open curve, which is fine. When our design is done and that's all connected, then we'll be good to go. Now, if we notice that we need to make some adjustments here, and we can do that with Background Bitmap on or off, doesn't matter which, hit Enter. I can highlight that line that I made, and if I type points on, it brings up every point I made. Now, each of those points, so we can see this better, I'm going to take Background Bitmap off. There we go. The more points there are, the more clicks I made. Okay, if we find something that we need to adjust, now we can grab onto one of those points and we can drag it. Keep in mind, you drag one, it affects the others. If you don't like it, hit Control Z and go back. But we can drag it freely, or if we need to drag it just on our X or our Y axis, we can grab a hold of one of the arrows and we can drag it accordingly. If you want to see what it looks like without points, type points off. Now we got rid of the points and we're good to go. So you're going to continue that whole thing until you have the whole outline done. Make sure it's joined, and then we'll scale it up and cut that out on the vinyl cutter.